What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about foods only found in the United Kingdom. I'm quite excited for this one, mostly because we're gonna get past the beans and toast and like the tea, the surface level kinds of things that Americans think about when we think about the UK, and into the realm of, I don't know what realm we're about to go into, but it's a very foodie and UK realm. And honestly, when you think about cultures around the world, one of the things you associate with a culture is their food. That's like a huge part of it. So just in that kind of general sense, learning about food only found and eaten and enjoyed in the UK not only is gonna greatly entertain me, it's gonna teach me something about the UK culture, so it's fantastic. I'm quite excited for this one. So let's take a look. 10 foods here that these people, who are also American, had never seen before visiting the UK, only found in the UK. Sounds wonderful.
Marmite. So Marmite is essentially just a really, really salty yeast extract that is...
Marmite? I've heard of Marmite. Actually, I confuse Marmite with Vegemite. Vegemite is a Australian thing, I think? Marmite? Marmite? What does yeast extract mean? I don't mean to... I don't mean to go on some long tangent already. 2 seconds into the video, but I don't know what the flavor of Marmite is supposed to be. And if I had just saw this jar right here that says Marmite yeast extract, I actually would have thought it's an ingredient for making bread or something. But you like put it on bread and eat it, and I don't know what the flavor is.
Spread on toast and butter. So you have bread and butter, and then you have Marmite on top.
The first and only time I've had Marmite, I had one question burning in my head, and that was, why?
Did it taste good?
No.
Was it salty?
Yeah.
Why? That is a big question for Americans in particular. Why? I guess it's just because we don't have anything comparable. Like something salty you put on toast or bread. Salty is a weird flavor. I think that's a flavor that Americans are kind of uncomfortable with. Maybe that's what it is? Ugh.
It tasted basically like someone had taken butter, taken all of the good flavor out of the butter, and just heaped on salt, maybe mixed in a little bit of a greasy meat flavor, and then just across a piece of bread. We're really starting this video on a high note with a food that we dislike, but we decided to get this out of the way. Marmite.
Man, he's really ripping on the Marmite. I guess I just gotta also say, why? I've definitely heard of Marmite. I know this word. Why is it so popular? Like, how did that start? What's the history? That's kind of what I'm wondering, because it is such a strange sounding taste. Like, I don't know, like you gotta get used to it, I imagine.
Marmite to our taste buds was just
strange.
Very strange.
Now the question is,
oh my gosh, he just ate that plain off the knife.
Taste buds was just
strange.
Very strange.
Now the question is, which came first? Marmite or Vegemite?
Yeah.
And is Marmite something that people crave, or is this just a, you know, it's alright sort of food?
What? I mean, Or is it, bear with me here, is it the kind of food where when the mood strikes you, you have to be in a certain mood for some Marmite, and then it's just so tasty, really hits that very niche kind of craving? I don't know. Or do you eat it every day? I don't know.
Let us know down below. Clotted cream. So clotted cream.
Clotted cream? I mean, before they explain it to me, I might as well say, I've never heard of this. Just so you get an idea of the average American's perspective on this. I don't know what clotted cream, like how that's different than butter or regular cream. It appears to be on a biscuit right there. Clotted. Clotted cream. Clotted like blood? Like, I don't, that doesn't make me feel particularly, I don't know, like I want to eat this kind of cream, but it doesn't look that bad at the same time.
Cream is a very thick, buttery, just delectable dairy cream. It is delicious. The first time I ever had this was in the UK. It was incredible. I loved it. And every time I had scones, scones.
I've heard in the UK you can pronounce it scones or scones, and it's a regional thing. Is that right?
Please don't bite my head off. In America, we say scones. Not trying to be offensive.
Oh, geez. I didn't even know there was any kind of debacle or debate over the pronunciation of scones. I've actually never even heard it pronounced scones. Scones, scones. That really is something you'd have to live in the UK to even know about that pronunciation difference. Anyway, enough about the scones. We're on clotted cream. Sounds good. It's just like super cream. Sounds like something Americans would like.
Your clotted cream is very good. Very good.
I had always assumed clotted cream was just one of those things you read in books and not really something that people ate anymore. You know, it's just like something that's...
You hear about it?
Yeah, not really in existence. Either that or it's some form of like cottage cheese or other cheese
That's what I was gonna say.
esque thing.
Growing up, when we...
Really, it's funny that these two even have an opinion on what they think of clotted cream, and that it was mythological, perhaps. I have no opinion on it, because I've never heard of it. From my little American point of view, I don't know. Sounds good. I mean, it sounds good. I just didn't know what the clotted part means.
We heard about clotted cream being a thing in the UK. I always assumed it was a cottage cheese consistency.
Oh.
So some sort of cheesy cream with big curds in there.
Yeah, oh, I understand what they're saying. It's kind of like what I was saying about clotted blood. Not to make this disgusting, but clotted cream, if I was just told that, I'd be like, what makes it clotted? That sounds like lumpy, like clots. Yeah, I actually totally agree with that. Apparently that's not what clotted cream is. It's not lumpy. It sounds very nice. Sounds like super rich, hearty cream. Maybe a bit of a branding issue there. I don't know.
It doesn't actually sound horribly pleasant based off of the name, but it is super good.
Right.
And I ate lots of it before I found out I couldn't eat dairy. Crumpets!
Okay. So crumpets! Oh my gosh, crumpets. I'm glad we're getting to this one, crumpets, because this is, oh my gosh, this is such an American thing to say about the UK, is that tea and crumpets, enjoying tea and crumpets. It's so British, so UK. And yet, we say that, and Americans don't know what crumpets are. I have no image in my mind of what a crumpet is or tastes like or does until right now, and I'm seeing it here at the bottom of the screen. And I have to say it looks like an English muffin, which is a funny thing to say because I don't know if the UK or let alone England has English muffins. Maybe that's what a crumpet is. Maybe that's why we call it an English muffin here? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Anyway, looks like a nice little bready, biscuity item. Looks good. Crumpet. I'm glad I'm finally kind of seeing it.
So in the States, we always joke about having tea and crumpets.
Yeah.
But then when we went to the UK, we were like, oh wow, crumpets are really a thing.
Yeah, it was really shocking for me because...
Yeah, I almost would have thought that crumpets are made up. Because, like, to Americans, it's kind of a funny word because we don't ever say it or use it in a serious way. So it's already like kind of a funny word to us, crumpet. And it's kind of like this mythical thing. We don't even know what it is, but we say it in relationship to the UK. It's weird. It's weird. This is making me realize there's a lot of weird stuff Americans do when talking about the UK.
I had always assumed that crumpets were a kind of biscuit. And so when we arrived in the UK and I found out that crumpets are these massive bread things, they're very similar to what we would call an English muffin.
There you go. Okay, great, perfect. Oh my gosh, we're really on the same page here. Me and these two Americans. So it is like an English muffin, isn't it? Although he called crumpets gigantic. Is it like a gigantic kind of biscuit? Or biscuit means cookie in the UK? I don't even know how to say it then. I don't know. I'm in a pickle now.
The United States. For my American friends, they're just a massive English muffin. So just seeing those in person was very, they're real!
Crumpets are real!
Yeah, they're real. Exactly. They're real, because they sound almost made up to me and Americans, because we don't have them. Cool to find out that they're actually gigantic. That's cool. Americans like that.
Oh yes, when I was growing up, somebody told me that, okay, in the UK, do you guys have these things called Nilla wafers? They're like little round biscuit things.
Yeah,
and they're vanilla flavored. And when I was growing up, I was told that the English people call these crumpets.
Really?
And so I believed that Nilla wafer cookies were.
Oh yeah, I know what she's talking about. Nilla wafers. Nilla, if I look it up. No, these are not crumpets. These. If I open this in a new picture and make it a little bigger. Yeah, these little, I won't say biscuits anymore, because apparently that means something different in the UK. These little circular, they're very tiny. They're like literally that big. Like very small little wafers. No, that is not at all what a crumpet is. Yeah.
Were crumpets.
Question for you, how do you eat a crumpet? Because we just found them in the shop, and so the way we ate them was I'd put them in a toaster and then lather them in butter and have them with breakfast.
Right, couldn't you like combo your giant crumpet with a clotted cream? That sounds good to me. Is that allowed?
But is there a specific meal time or way to eat crumpets? Let us know down in the comments.
Yeah, and to his point, for some reason, Americans always say, kind of sarcastically, tea and crumpets. Oh, let's have some tea and crumpets and be fancy. Are crumpets really eaten with tea at tea time? Is that a real thing?
Pork pie. From what we understand, pork pie...
Pork pie? Pork pie. Here's the thing. In America, we really do not do the whole meat pie thing. We don't put meats in our pies, and I mean, I'm sure some Americans maybe like do something like that, but for the most part, vastly for the most part, like I've never had a pie with meat in it, let alone a pork pie. And this pork looks, I'm going off the picture they have here. This pork looks like kind of thick and like hard. I don't know. I'm thinking just because I have never really had meat pies with meat. Anytime one of these things, mince pies or pork pies or whatever all this is, anytime I get introduced to one of these things, it's kind of a culture shock to me. I don't know. I feel like I'd have to take a bite of it, but I am a little nervous of this one.
Pies are basically a bunch of chopped up pork wrapped in a thick,
Layer?
greasy pork jelly, stuffed inside of a pastry shell, and then baked.
And sometimes this pastry shell is in the shape of a loaf, like it's baked in a loaf pan, and other times it's round, like an actual...
Like a pie.
Like a pie.
Our honest reaction...
It's so funny how prevalent this is in the UK, and how it just does not exist in America. Like, for the most part. I won't say it doesn't exist at all. Maybe there's some American out there making meat pies, but man, this is like one of the biggest differences, I think.
Reaction to pork pie was that it was pretty disgusting. And
he said his reaction was that it's disgusting. I'm sure it's not that disgusting, but I think Americans would visually have a problem first and foremost, because we're not used to seeing this.
Pie.
our honest reaction to pork pie was that it was pretty disgusting. And I know that sounds really harsh. We're not trying to be culturally insensitive, but just, you know, taste, you're used to the taste you grew up with, and it does take a little bit to adjust to the food of a new culture. A couple of things that made pork pie really different for us were, one, it's served cold. At least all the times that we had it, it was cold.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
What? Come on, man. Served cold? Why? I'm really trying to go out of my way here to be open-minded about the pork pie, but then you're gonna serve it cold? Why? Why does it have to be cold, too?
Which in America, you don't really ever eat cold meat. Only
Yeah.
a few very rare
sandwich
dishes.
meats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna have
Yeah.
a pie, it's always hot. So that was a bit odd to begin with.
Yeah.
And then another thing was the
Yeah.
pork jelly. So these pork pies have this thick layer of fat.
Oh my god, yeah. Man, it's so funny because I'm guessing if you live in the UK, you look at this and you're like, "Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks correct." Man, putting like some weird pork jelly, even the word pork jelly sends a shiver up my spine. Yeah, like they're kind of saying, not trying to be insensitive here, but that is American genuine reaction. Pork jelly. Ugh, jeez. Cold pork, pork jelly, and thank goodness some like delicious outer bread coating, though.
Around them. And so every bite you take there's a bit of meat, a bit of crust, and then just a bunch of fat. Americans don't really like their animal fat. They really, if you have a piece of steak, you're cutting
Yeah.
off the fat and you're not eating that part.
Yeah.
You skim the fat off of soups, you don't eat that. So that is a big hurdle for us to overcome when it comes to eating
Yeah.
food in the UK, is that there is a lot of animal fat. And
Really? I didn't know that was the thing. Oh man. That's so funny. Such random little differences. That's always the most entertaining things to me. These random little cultural differences, like in the UK, perfectly fine with like eating some of the animal fat. In America, we think that's disgusting. Why is that? How does that happen? It's almost like random.
so just the way we grew up was not eating animal fat. Pork pies are full of this thick animal fat. And so that was a shocking thing for us to experience.
We've had the same reaction when visiting Asia, and we've tried foods there that had that really fatty texture to them. Like eel, we had eel in Japan, and it had that really fatty texture to it, and we both just, it's a no-go at that rate. If it's like...
Yeah, I mean, maybe America is the weird one here. Like, I'm totally willing to admit that. Sounds like lots of cultures around the world probably do eat some of the fat. I know, like, yeah, we have a weird relationship with the animal fat. I've heard, like, lots of cultures be like, oh, that's the delicious part. That's the part that shows that it's quality. Like, cooking and rendering the fat and incorporating it into the dish. So, I know of this concept, but, yeah, just not something I'm used to. As a matter of fact, I've been trained in my little American training of growing up to just like associate it with being disgusting, honestly.
It feels like you're eating your tongue. It's
Oh,
really
that's
nasty.
Yeah. But we're not judging you guys. We're not saying it's bad food. We're just saying that the taste that we grew up with, it's a different set of tastes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we are very brave eaters, and we are happy to try new things. And also, if there's a cultural food that we dislike, we tend to try it again and again and again and eventually acquire a taste for it. Like,
Oh, goodness. They're really torturing themselves here. Wow, for the greater good, though. Yeah, and that's another thing. When you're eating, texture is very important. And this jelly fat stuff sounds like it'd be very kind of slimy. Now I'm just making it sound as bad as possible for my own defense. It sounds like it'd be kind of very chewy and slimy, and that's not a texture Americans really associate with eating meat. So yeah, that's like trying to eat Jell-O with meat or something. It's just no, wouldn't do that.
we did that with a lot of food in Korea and Japan. And so we are very happy to continue eating pork pie in the UK.
Yes.
Okay.
I won't be avoiding it in the future just because it's an odd dish for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like we could really easily acquire a taste for it as well because it's savory. It has a good flavor.
Very hearty.
Yeah, it is. Haggis. This is a Scottish.
Haggis. Oh my gosh, haggis. Oh, this is another, like, I'm not going to say a meme, but definitely like a stereotypical food item Americans referred to as something very foreign, very UK, and very much something Americans would never dream of eating. And it kind of sounds a little funny to us as well, kind of like crumpet, because we just never say the word in a serious manner, like we're never eating it. So if we're referring to haggis or something, we're I don't know. It's usually like joking around or something. Is this Scottish? I believe. And the important part here, isn't this a stomach or something? Animal stomach? What? I have a hard time believing that this is a common dish, like commonly eaten, but I'd be fascinated to learn if it is, just because you can't be, wouldn't it be difficult to like prepare something like this? It seems like a lot of effort stuffing the stomach and preparing it, and I don't know. And part of me just wants to believe that people in the UK aren't just eating these animal stomachs all day, although it's probably very healthy, actually. Americans really shy away from eating animal organs of any kind. We really, really do not do that. We think that's kind of disgusting, and that's probably not a good thing, right? That's not a good thing, because it's wasteful, and animal organs like are very, very nutritious, right? So it's not a good thing that we think it's disgusting, but it is what it is.
Food that is made out of sheep's heart, liver, and lung.
Oh, sheep's heart, liver, and lung. I almost wish it was just the stomach. Heart, liver, and lung? Like mashed up and like combined? How do you make a sack out of it? Oh my gosh, sheep's stomach, heart, liver, okay.
And is cooked in a sheep's stomach. Or
Okay.
at least, to the best of my knowledge, this is what a haggis is.
Oh my gosh, they're saying that the heart, liver, and lung get mushed up together, jammed inside the stomach, and then cooked and eaten. Oh my gosh, how common is this, actually?
And it also has a lot of spices and I think oats and other things like that all mixed in. Now, in contrast to pork pie, you would assume haggis to be a food that Americans dislike because, you know, it's got all those organs in it, and Americans are famous for being picky when it comes to organ meat. But I actually frickin' loved haggis.
Oh my gosh, I'm happy that he liked it, but most Americans, oh my gosh, would not try this. I got it, like, it's a big mental block. It's a big mental block. But that just goes to show you that you should get over it. Try to get over that kind of thing and try things like this, because you might love it. Like, he's saying it's delicious.
It was so good. I had multiple helpings over multiple days, and a huge shout out to our friends Connie and Jeff,
Wow.
who you can see in this video here, who actually brought a haggis from the UK to France for us to eat with them. It was really good. For my American friends, haggis tastes a lot like American biscuits and gravy. So good.
What? What? How does haggis taste like biscuits and gravy? Is this just some ploy to get me to try it? Because I do love biscuits and gravy. How can animal organs taste like biscuits and gravy? What? Okay. I don't know. I mean, I could be convinced, I guess.
So good.
So like a ground beef sort of thing?
Mm-hmm.
So like beef.
Get it ground beefy, and it's got that gravy flavor. We had haggis, I think, with mashed potatoes.
Really?
Didn't we?
Neeps and tatties.
Oh, neeps and tatties.
Okay.
Pasties.
So
Okay. Oh, that was like 5 food items, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, I'm gonna pause it there and come back for part 2 of this, because this video is pretty long. I'm really enjoying this, like in a kind of a sick way, in a fascinating way. You know, all joking aside, it is super fun and fascinating to learn about like UK food items that, I mean, I haven't tried any of these, and I haven't heard of most of these. So I think this has just been a fantastic video so far. It's a little long, so I think I'm going to stop here and continue the rest of this probably in my next video, actually. So if you've been enjoying this, feel free to tune back in for part 2 of foods from the UK that I've never seen before. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to UK culture, stuff about the UK I've never seen or learned before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.